Hey there, welcome back to Savanna Storytime. If you love juicy twists and stories that keep you hooked, you're in for a treat. In part 1, we saw Ada go from being bullied and laughed at to becoming the queen of the school. Ada finally got the spotlight she deserved. It was inspiring, emotional, and absolutely unforgettable. But not all that glitters is gold. Fame and fortune come with their own challenges. What happens when Ada starts losing herself to the very things she used to despise? And who will save her when things go too far? Oh, she was almost raped by her so-called new friend. If you miss part 1, don't worry, I've got you covered. Check the link in the comment section or tap that little card in the top right corner of your screen to watch it first. Trust me, you'll want the full story before jumping in here. And while you're here, hit that subscribe button for more incredible stories, because you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next. The morning began like any other at Pinnacle Academy, students bustling in the courtyard, teachers preparing for the day ahead, and the usual hum of routine filling the air. But soon, the roar of an approaching helicopter shattered the calm, turning heads and sparking murmurs. It wasn't the first time Ada had arrived in such dramatic fashion, but it never failed to captivate the crowd. The sleek black helicopter descended onto the sports field, its spinning blades kicking up a whirlwind of dust and envy. Students craned their necks, shielding their eyes, as the door opened to reveal Ada, as she now insisted on being called. She stepped out slowly, her uniform impeccably tailored and her polished shoes reflecting the morning sun. Her designer bag hung casually over her shoulder, a silent reminder of how much had changed. Every step Ada took across the courtyard seemed rehearsed, every glance calculated. She didn't rush. No, she allowed everyone to drink in the sight of her, their whispers feeding the growing fire of pride in her chest. On other days, it would be the new spectacle of a roaring Lamborghini, bright and bold, pulled into the school's driveway. The low hum of its engine silenced conversations, drawing everyone's attention like moths to a flame. Ada stepped out of the car as the doors lifted theatrically, her confidence radiating like sunlight. Ada's life had transformed into something straight out of a dream, or so it seemed. The once overlooked girl was now the center of attention, basking in a spotlight she had never imagined for herself. The students at Pinnacle Academy couldn't stop talking about her. She was the girl who had risen from nothing, now soaring above everyone else. But with fame came temptation. Amoka's former friends, who had once mocked Ada, now clung to her like moths to a flame. They flattered her endlessly, calling her a queen and assuring her she had taken Amoka's place. At first, Ada hesitated, uncomfortable with the attention. But slowly, the constant praise started to work its way into her heart. The Ada, who once walked with humility, began to change. She started to enjoy the adoration, the power, the way people now treated her. And so, when her new friends began suggesting little indulgences, skipping study hall, hanging out by the pool instead of revising, Ada went along with it. It seemed harmless at first. But soon, the stakes rose. Ada, there's a party tomorrow, her friends told her one day, their voices dripping with excitement. You have to come. It will be amazing. Ada hesitated. Parties weren't her thing, and the thought of ditching school for a party made her stomach twist. But her friends wouldn't relent. You're Ada now, they insisted. You don't say no to fun. The following morning, she gave in, leaving her house but never reaching school. She joined her friends at a sprawling mansion that pulsed with music and lights. Of course, they all brought their party clothes. The air was thick with excitement, and there, in the midst of it all, Ada saw her. Amoka. The girl Ada had spent years resenting stood across the room, her expression a mixture of surprise and disappointment. She walked over to Ada, her steps hesitant but firm. What are you doing here? Amoka asked, her voice tinged with concern. Ada raised an eyebrow, her tone cold. What does it look like? I'm here to have fun. Amoka's face softened. Ada, you don't belong here. These people, this life, I'm still trying to get out of it all. It's the same mistake I made, and it almost ruined me. But Ada wasn't in the mood for lectures, especially not from Amoka. Her new friends had noticed the exchange and began to circle, their mocking laughter a shield around Ada. Amoka, please, Ada said with a smirk, her voice dripping with disdain. Save the advice for someone who cares. Amoka stared at her for a moment, her shoulders sinking. I'm trying to help you, Ada. But Ada turned away, her friends cheering her on as they walked deeper into the chaos of the party. Amoka stayed behind, watching them go, a knot of worry tightening in her chest. She recognized the path Ada was on, it was the same one she had walked, and she knew all too well where it led. It was a few weeks before exams when Alex arrived at Pinnacle Academy. The buzz began before he even set foot in the classroom. He was a transfer student, coming to the school just to sit for his final exams. Tall, handsome, and with an air of effortless charm, Alex quickly became the center of attention. His reputation preceded him, a boy from a wealthy family, known for his smooth-talking ways and a knack for sweeping girls off their feet. For Ada, it was an irresistible combination. The confident, carefree boy seemed like a reflection of the life she now lived. But it was Alex who made the first move. His interest in Ada, the most popular rich girl, was clear initially. Soon, they became the embodiment of young couple of Pinnacle Academy. But Alex's charm came with a price. He introduced Ada to a world far removed from the girl she once was. After school parties, extravagant gifts, and whispered promises of an eternal relationship. He'd pick her up after school, whisking her away to crowded clubs and private gatherings. Wednesdays became Ada's sick days, used as an excuse to skip school and spend time with Alex. Weekends, meant for extra lessons, were instead spent at lounges or clubs, far from the textbooks that now gathered dust on her desk. It didn't take long for Chino to voice out her displeasure. One afternoon, Chino caught Ada alone near the school gates, waiting for Alex to pick her up. Chino hesitated but gathered her courage. This was her chance to speak. Ada, Chino began, her voice soft but steady. Can we talk for a moment? What is it, Chino? Make it quick. Alex will be here any second. Ada said, barely looking up from her phone. Chino took a deep breath. I'm worried about you, she said. You've been skipping school, your grades are dropping, and, she hesitated, then pressed on, I don't think Alex is good for you. That caught Ada's attention. Her phone lowered slightly, and her eyes narrowed. Excuse me. What did you just say? I'm saying that you're losing yourself, Chino said, her voice firm now. This isn't you, Ada. Skipping school, lying to your parents, partying all the time. And Alex is pulling you deeper into it. You're better than this. Ada's lips curled into a mocking smile. Better than this. Better than Alex. Chino, you don't know what you're talking about. Alex loves me, and he treats me like a queen. Maybe you wouldn't understand because you've never had someone like him. The words stung, but Chino pressed on. Ada, I'm not saying this to hurt you. I'm your friend. I just don't want you to end up regretting these choices. Ada's patience snapped. You're jealous, Chino, she hissed. Jealous because you never have what I have. You're stuck in your boring little world while I'm living my dream. So don't stand there and lecture me like you're better than me. Chino's face fell, the weight of Ada's words sinking in. For a moment, there was silence between them, the distance between their once close friendship growing wider. Fine, Chino said quietly. If you don't want to listen, I won't force you. But someday, you'll see I'm right. Ada scoffed and turned away as Alex's sleek car pulled up to the curb. She got in without another glance, the door slamming shut behind her as they sped away. As Ada became more entangled in her relationship with Alex, life for Chino took on a different trajectory. She unexpectedly found herself forging a new connection with someone she never thought she'd befriend. Amoka, once the queen bee and Ada's tormentor, was now a different person. One day, during a quiet afternoon in the library, Amoka approached Chino with a hesitant smile. Chino, she began softly, her voice lacking its usual sharpness. Can I sit with you? Chino, surprised but not unkind, nodded. Of course. Amoka sat down, her hands fidgeting with the edge of her notebook. I need your help, she said finally. With mathematics. I've never been good at it, and the exams are coming up. Chino studied Amoka for a moment. This was not the arrogant girl she had known. There was no pretense in her voice, no false bravado. Just sincerity and vulnerability. All right, Chino said, opening her textbook. Let's start with the basics. The sessions became a regular occurrence. Amoka would bring her books and questions, and Chino would patiently guide her through equations and formulas. At first, Amoka struggled, frustration etched on her face. But over time, her confidence grew. The bond between them deepened as they worked together, and Chino saw in Amoka a genuine desire to be better. It was a stark contrast to Ada, whose choices were leading her further away from everything she once valued. The school became unusually quiet as test week began, a tense silence filling the air as students pored over last-minute notes and murmured prayers for good grades. Ada, however, was distracted. She sat at her desk, fidgeting with her pen, her thoughts miles away from the textbook in front of her. Instead, they lingered on the ultimate party Alex had invited her to after exams. Unlike the casual gatherings she had grown accustomed to, parties squeezed into school hours or lasting just an hour after the final bell, this one was different. It was an all-night party, something completely new for her. The thrill of it made her heart race. It felt forbidden, exciting, and far more glamorous than anything she'd experienced before. Her grades didn't matter, she told herself. Not anymore. She had her father's wealth and connections to carry her forward, everything else was secondary. This party wasn't just a distraction, it was the highlight of her new life, and Ada couldn't wait to step fully into it. When the results were posted on the classroom bulletin board, the tension broke into murmurs and exclamations. Amoka, standing with Chino, let out a small gasp. I got 65%, she exclaimed, her voice a mix of disbelief and joy. For the first time, she had scored above 45%. She turned to Chino, her smile widening. I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. Chino, glancing at her own result of 90%, smiled warmly. You earned it, Amoka. I just helped. Across the room, Ada stood frozen, staring at her own result, 50%. It was the highest among her new friends, but far from what she was capable of. Her face flushed with embarrassment as the reality of her choices sank in. From the corner of her eye, she saw Amoka and Chino celebrating. Something inside her snapped. Without thinking, she marched over, her anger bubbling to the surface. Chino, she called out sharply, her voice loud enough to silence the nearby chatter. What are you doing with her? She pointed at Amoka, her eyes blazing. She's the one who made my life miserable, and now you're her best friend. Chino turned, startled by Ada's tone. Ada, calm down, she said, her voice steady but firm. Amoka has changed. She's working hard to be better. Changed? Ada scoffed, her voice dripping with sarcasm. You're defending her. After everything she did to me. And now you're just going to laugh and celebrate with her like nothing happened. Chino's expression hardened. And what about you, Ada? She asked, her voice cutting through the tension. Do you think you're any different from her now? Look at yourself. You're skipping school, partying, ignoring your studies. You're doing the exact same things Amoka used to do, maybe worse. Ada's face paled, her anger momentarily giving way to guilt. That's not true, she muttered, her voice quieter now. It is true, Chino continued, her tone unwavering. You've let your new friends change you. The Ada I knew, the Ada who worked hard and cared about her future, would never have let this happen. You two deserve each other, Ada snapped, her voice shaking with anger and hurt. Enjoy your little friendship. She stormed out of the classroom, her new friends following behind, whispering and laughing as if nothing had happened. Chino sighed, her heart heavy with worry for Ada. Later that afternoon, while walking behind the school building, Amoka overheard Alex on the phone. She paused, curiosity piqued when she heard him laughing loudly. Yeah, bro, it's all set, Alex said casually, his voice carrying over the quiet space. The girls are coming, no doubt. Once they're drunk, it will be easy. You know how it goes, one after the other. All night. It will be epic. Amoka's heart sank as she listened, her stomach twisting into knots. She knew what Alex was planning, and the thought of Ada walking into that trap made her blood run cold. Quietly, she backed away, her mind racing. Amoka found Chino in the library, her face pale with urgency. Chino, I need to talk to you, she whispered, pulling her aside. What is it? Chino asked, concerned by Amoka's expression. It's Alex. I overheard him on the phone, Amoka said in a rush. He's planning something terrible for the party. He and his friends, they are going to spike the drinks and take advantage of the girls. Chino's eyes widened in shock. Are you sure? I'm positive, Amoka replied. But if we tell Ada, she won't believe us. She'll think we're lying to make her stop seeing Alex. She'll get angry, and it'll only make things worse. Chino nodded slowly, understanding the truth of Amoka's words. Then we need a plan. We can't let Ada or the others get hurt. Together, the two girls devised a risky but necessary plan. They would attend the party, stay sober, and call the police the moment things escalated. And no matter what, they had to get Ada out safely before it was too late. The night air was cool and crisp as Ada slipped out of her bedroom window, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and rebellion. The headlights of a car flashed briefly outside as one of her new friends waved her over. Dressed in a sleek black dress and heels, Ada felt glamorous, like she was living the life she had always dreamed of. You're going to love this party, one of her friends said as she opened the car door. Alex's mansion is insane. Ada slid into the back seat, grinning. The music was already blaring, the bass thumping in her chest as they sped off toward the outskirts of the city. Inside the mansion, the air was thick with smoke and the scent of alcohol. Boys and girls danced wildly in the massive living room, their movements erratic under the strobe lights. Ada's friends squealed in excitement, pulling her toward the bar. Try this, one of them urged, handing Ada a glass filled with a sparkling pink drink. She hesitated for a moment but gave in to the peer pressure, downing the drink in one go. The alcohol burned her throat, but the cheers from her friends made her laugh. From the corner of the room, Amoka and Chino observed quietly. They had arrived unnoticed, blending into the crowd while keeping a close eye on Ada and her group. Amoka's stomach churned as she remembered Alex's earlier phone call. They're targeting the girls, she whispered to Chino. We need to stay alert. Chino nodded, her jaw tight. We'll wait for the right moment. Let's stick to the plan. As the night progressed, the party grew wilder. Ada found herself laughing louder, dancing freer, and drinking more than she had ever imagined. She felt unstoppable, invincible. It was well past midnight when the atmosphere of the party shifted. The laughter grew louder but slurred, the dancing more erratic. One by one, Ada's friends began to stumble, their eyes glassy and unfocused. Ada herself felt strange, her vision blurring slightly as she leaned against the wall for support. Alex appeared beside her, his charming smile now unsettling. "Come on, Ada," he said, taking her hand. "Let's get away from all this noise." Her heart fluttered, but something felt off. I don't know," she mumbled, trying to pull her hand back. "Don't worry," Alex said smoothly, his grip tightening. "You'll be fine." From across the room, Amoka and Chino watched as the boys began guiding the unconscious girls upstairs. "It's happening," Chino whispered, pulling out her phone. "I'm calling the police." Amoka nodded, her eyes scanning the room. "I'll look for Ada. You stay here and keep an eye on the others." Amoka hurried upstairs, her heart pounding as she checked room after room. Finally, she heard muffled voices from behind a closed door. Pushing it open, she found Alex pinning Ada to the bed, her arms weakly trying to push him away. "Get off her!" Amoka screamed, rushing forward. Alex turned, startled, but before he could react, Chino burst into the room, her heels in hand. She swung them at him, striking his head with enough force to make him cry out in pain. Amoka pulled Ada to her feet, her arm around her waist as Ada stumbled, barely able to stand. "Come on, Ada. We're getting out of here." Downstairs, the music was still blaring as Amoka and Chino half-dragged Ada through the crowd. Chino's Uber driver was waiting outside, as planned. "Get in," Chino yelled, helping Ada into the back seat. As the car sped away, the sound of sirens filled the air. The police had arrived, storming the mansion and rounding up everyone inside. Ada's friends, along with Alex and the other boys, were taken to the police station, while the unconscious girls were rushed to the hospital. The car pulled up to Chino's house, where the girls hurried inside. Chino's home was warm and welcoming, the kind of place that instantly put you at ease. "My parents aren't home," Chino said, retrieving a first aid kit from the kitchen. "But they are doctors, and I've helped out enough times at the hospital to know what to do." She walked quickly, tending to Ada's minor scrapes and helping her rehydrate. Ada watched her, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry," she said, her voice cracking. "I should have listened to you. I should have." Amoka placed a hand on her shoulder, cutting her off gently. "What matters is that you're safe now." Ada nodded, her tears falling harder. For the first time in months, she felt the weight of her choices, the reality of how close she had come to losing everything. The morning after the party, the news swept through Pinnacle Academy like wildfire. Phones buzzed, parents whispered anxiously, and the school buzzed with the chaotic energy of a soap opera gone wrong. By mid-morning, it was clear, last night's party had turned into a full-blown scandal. The police raid, unconscious students rushed to the hospital, and rumors of drugs, it was all anyone could talk about. At the hospital, distraught parents gathered, some yelling, some crying, as they found their children either dazed or missing. The school administration wasted no time, summoning every parent whose child was unaccounted for. Ada's parents also got wind of the disturbing news. They rushed to the school to confirm. After hearing about the unsanctioned party last night, and the unconscious girl at the hospital, they raced to the hospital. Chinedu's chest tightened. "Oh, my dear Ada." Panic set in as Chinedu and Ebo began calling Ada's phone, their worry mounting with each unanswered ring. Just as they were about to reach the hospital, Chinedu's phone buzzed with a call from an unexpected source, Amoka's mother. "Good morning, Mr. Chinedu," her voice sounded unusually calm. "Ada's with Chino." The girls decided to have a little mini party at Chino's place last night. I thought you should know. Chinedu and Ebu exchanged confused glances. A mini party. Ada had never been one to sneak off. Still, relief washed over them. Their daughter wasn't among the students caught up in the scandal. The foundation Chinedu had worked so hard to build wouldn't be tarnished, and Ada's future was still intact. Back at Chino's house, Ada, fully conscious, broke down, her voice trembling as tears streamed down her cheeks. "I'm so sorry," she said, her hands clutching to the bedspread. "I could have lost everything. My scholarship. My dreams. My parents' trust. And I could have lost myself. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on me." Amoka, once her greatest enemy, smiled softly. "You're welcome, Ada. We've all made mistakes. What matters is what you do next." Chino nodded, squeezing Ada's hand. "We are here for you. Always." And in that moment, the three girls realized something profound. Their friendship, forged through trials and second chances, was the kind of bond that could weather any storm. The sun rose over Pinnacle Academy with its usual golden brilliance, but something was different. The usual chatter of students about clothes, cars, and cliques was replaced by whispers about Ada. "Did you hear? Her friends claimed that she was also at the party but was nowhere to be found, not even at the hospital. Apparently, she must have run away. Can you believe it? No proof of her being there. She's so lucky she didn't get suspended. That scholarship would have been gone in a second." Ada walked into the school gates, her head held high, not out of pride, but out of determination. For the first time in weeks, she came to school on foot. No luxury car or attention-grabbing helicopter. Instead, she felt a sense of clarity, a renewed focus on what really mattered. She approached Chino and Amoka at their usual spot in the courtyard. This time, there was no hesitation, no awkwardness. Just gratitude. "Hey," Ada said softly. "Hey," Chino replied, a knowing smile spreading across her face. Amoka gave a small wave. "You okay?" Ada nodded. "Yeah. Better than okay, actually. I've been thinking a lot about what you both said. About how I was losing my way." She paused, taking a deep breath. "You were right. And I don't want to be that person anymore. I want to be better." Amoka grinned. "That's the Ada I always saw under all that glamour." The three girls sat together, their conversation flowing easily. They talked about their plans, their dreams, and, of course, the chaos of the past few days. "You know," Chino said, her tone teasing, "I never thought I'd see the day when you two would be friends." Ada and Amoka exchanged a sheepish look before bursting into laughter. "Life has a funny way of surprising you," Amoka said. From that day forward, the trio became inseparable. Ada focused on her studies, Amoka continued her journey of self-improvement, and Chino remained the glue that held them together. The whispers around school didn't matter anymore. What mattered was that Ada had found not just redemption, but true friends who saw her for who she truly was, and who wouldn't let her forget it. And as the bell rang, signaling the start of a new day, Ada walked to class with Amoka and Chino by her side, ready to face whatever came next. And that's how Ada's journey took another wild turn. From fame and fortune nearly leading her astray to true friendship pulling her back to the right path, it's a story of lessons, redemption, and the people who truly care for us. So, what did you think? Did Ada's story surprise you? What would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. And hey, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join the Savanna Storytime family for more captivating tales that keep you coming back for more. Until next time, remember, life has twists and turns, but the right people in your corner make all the difference. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.